morning, Dr. Val here. Welcome to Coffee Chats. I have my Bulletproof coffee here, and I hope you have yours. If you've never heard of Bulletproof coffee, go back and watch my video on what it is, why you should drink it, and how to make it, because it's super yummy. Today is going to be part 2 of my #1 health tip, and we're going to talk about sugar. So I've talked about wheat before. If you missed the first part of this, part 1 of my #1 health tip, my tip is this. If I have to sit down with anyone and say, okay, here's my #1 recommendation for something that you can do for your health right now, it is this: no wheat and no sugar in your diet. And by sugar, I mean processed, white, refined sugar in all its glorious forms. Last time I talked mostly about the wheat side of it, and if you missed that or don't understand why wheat is such a big deal, go back and watch my book review where I talked about the book called Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis, and some of the things that modern wheat is doing to our bodies, and wheat is in everything. And the reason that I lump those two together, one of the reasons, is that one of the characteristics of wheat is that it has a higher glycemic index than table sugar does, which means the glycemic index is how much your blood sugar will rise after you eat it, whatever that thing is, on a scale. So it's not just a number, the number is on a scale. And whole wheat or white bread, it does not matter, it raises your blood sugar higher and faster than straight table sugar. If you eat 2 tablespoons of white table sugar, it will raise your blood sugar, but if you eat 2 slices of whole wheat bread, it raises your blood sugar even more. So in that regard, wheat equals sugar, really, from your body's standpoint. That is one of the things that wheat is doing to your system. If you stick to the guidelines of a whole grain diet, and whole grains, whole wheat is making up the biggest part of your pyramid, your food pyramid, that's bad, because your sugar is actually spiking all the time. And our standard American diet, we are real good about everything that we grab has wheat in it. Our crackers, our bread, our snacks, every snack we have is usually something with wheat. And if it doesn't have wheat, it probably has sugar in it. You would be hard pressed to go down the aisles in the store and pick up a label or turn over a product and read a label and not find sugar in it. That's one of those things that is in everything. Every package, box, you name it, there's probably sugar in it. So, I am later going to talk a little bit about labels and how to read them, and what to look for in sugar. So, if you are trying to substitute out sugar in your pantry, I'm going to tell you today's job, your assignment today is going to be to go to your pantry, take out the sugar. I don't care how much it is, whether you buy it in bulk or whether you have little packets of it. Even if it's organic, throw it out. That's what you're to do today. Now I'm going to tell you what I use for replacement. Okay, as a sweetener, when I am doing baking, a lot of times I will substitute in, sorry the glare, coconut sugar. Coconut sugar looks like this window right here. It looks like brown sugar. It's brown and it's a little more coarse than regular sugar. But it is a good baking substitute to use in bulk. A lot of the recipes that I have use coconut crystals or coconut sugar. They're very similar, it's just a different drying mechanism. I believe the coconut crystals are a little more concentrated. You can use it one-to-one with as a substitute for white sugar in your recipes, but some people find it's a little sweeter, so you kind of have to play around with it. I frankly have gotten new recipes for most of the things that I want to do or bake, and so I will just follow what those say, and they will have things like that that say coconut sugar. You can find that at most stores today. The other three sweeteners that I use for recipes is a good quality maple syrup. This one happens to be organic, but a grade A or grade B, I've read a little bit about it, and I'm not sure that that matters so much. This one happens to be a Kirkland brand, which is Sam's. If you have a wholesale store around you, I know that Costco has an equivalent brand of that. But all my local grocery stores also have pretty good quality maple syrup. Some recipes will call for that. I love it on splurge days to put a drizzle of that in my bulletproof coffee, but not when you're intermittent fasting, because that is high carb. We're going to talk about the labels in a minute. Another thing that is often used in a bunch of recipes is raw honey. If you get honey that is local to your area, even better. The less processing, the better. You want unfiltered, unheated raw honey. This is from a relatively local farm, one state over. This happens to be little jars. I tend to buy it in much bigger jars. Just kind of depends. So those are three sweeteners that show up a lot in recipes when you're looking at recipes. But the other thing, which I use on a more day-to-day basis, is stevia. Stevia is, there's a plant called stevia, and the leaves, they extract the powder, the juice, basically out of the leaves and dry it, and that powder is very sweet. It's sweeter than sugar, but it has 0 carbs in it. It doesn't raise your blood sugar, but it tastes very, very sweet. This is one brand. This one actually does have an additional sweetener with it, but they do sell this in bulk, great big bags of just free powder. These are little individual packets that you can stick in your purse and take. But the brands that I use more often, this is Sweet Leaf brand. Trying to get the glare off, sorry. And this is unflavored stevia liquid drops. It's a glass jar, it has a dropper bottle. And this is just stevia extract. That's it. In a liquid form. This particular one is unflavored. It says 5 to 8 drops per whatever if you're doing a glass of something. That's really handy for coffee, tea, or if you're just trying to sweeten a pitcher of whatever, lemonade or something, to use a squirt of that. It is more potent than sugar, so it doesn't take very many drops, honestly. That same brand, Sweet Leaf, they also make flavored varieties. So I just grabbed this one, which is peppermint. This is my son's favorite, which is really good when you're making your own hot chocolate, or I put this in smoothies. Quick story, I made this super green shake smoothie that's all vegetables. I mean, it's really green, and it does have mint leaves in it, and it has lime juice, and it's an acquired taste. I posted it on a Facebook post and said that I made it, and in the video where I got this off of, in the smoothie recipe, they said, well, you can add stevia, you know, if it's just not sweet enough. Well, I had taken some out, and my son, who loves smoothies pretty much of any kind, wanted to know everything that was in it. So I'm listing off, well, it's got cucumber and celery and kale and avocado and all this stuff in it. And I said, and mint. And he goes, oh, does it taste like peppermint? And I said, no, but I could make it taste like peppermint. And he was like, ooh, can I try? So we put about 5-6 drops of peppermint drops in this really green tasting smoothie, and now it tasted like peppermint, and he loved it. He ate all of it, and it was mine. That was my snack, and he absolutely loved it. So my son loves the peppermint. They have root beer, they have cola, so you can take sparkling water and flavor it, or if you have a oh, I just blanked, one of those machines where you can make your own bubbly stuff. SodaStream, there we go. You can take your basically carbonated water and add the root beer flavoring to it. It sweetens it and makes it taste like root beer, even though it's perfectly clear because there's no coloring or anything. So those 4 things I use all the time. I have a lot of recipes where they're using things like dates in the blended recipe as a, you know, literally a natural sweetener. The dates are the only sweetness to it. Those are really yummy. So that's your alternatives to have in your pantry. Now, I'm going to talk about labels real quick, and I'm not holding this up because I'm pitching this brand or anything. It's just what I had in my closet. Okay, this is a, what is this? Tomato sauce, pasta sauce. This is something I want you to see when you look at a label and you're looking at sugar. Okay, serving size. Whoop. That says serving size 1/2 cup. Pay attention to serving size. When you look at a label, do you go, yeah, I usually eat that much, or no, I eat like double that much? So be realistic. If if the serving size says 2 tablespoons and you're like, what? Are you kidding? I eat 4 times that. Then do the math as you're looking at that. So look at the serving size, and we're going to talk about labels later, but one thing that I want you to see here, pay attention to serving size, and if it looks accurate, then just go with these numbers. There will always be a header that says total carbs. Right here it says 8 grams, that's per serving. And then sometimes under that you will see something that says fiber or dietary fiber and a sugar column. When you're looking at total carbs per serving, here's a good rule of thumb. When you go to the store and you're like, should I buy this one or this one? Try to keep the grams of carbs under 10 per serving. 10 grams of carbs per serving. That's a good rule of thumb. Whether you're looking at drinks, yogurt, other packaged snacks, tomato sauce in particular can be extremely high carb because the tomato paste a lot of times that they use will have a high amount of sugar in it already. But anyway, so you look at the total carbs. Then you look at if there's a fiber listed, that means your body doesn't actually absorb it. The dietary fiber source means you can subtract those 2 grams from those 8 grams. So really the total carbs per serving that your body is going to be able to break down is going to be 6 grams per serving. Okay, now this happens to say sugar's 6. This is the form that those carbs are in. Is it in a sugar form or is it in a more complex form? And in this case, it's all sugar. This particular brand has added organic sugar down here somewhere. So the source of sugar, or the source of carbs in here, is essentially all from sugar. But per serving, that is 6 grams per serving. And that is what you want to look at. I have another label here that I'm going to show you real quick. This says total carbs, 20 grams. And then right under it, it says dietary fiber, 1 gram. Then it says sugar, 2 grams. Well, you say the math doesn't add up. It's not adding it up. The 20 grams of total carbs is what your body is going to break down. The pure sugar form of that, of the, 2 grams, just means that's in a pure sugar form and your body's going to absorb it rapidly. Since it had 1 gram of dietary fiber, that means you get to subtract it. So per serving, that one had 19 grams of carbs. And this also says serving size 1/2 cup size. And I will show you what it was I just held up. My boys love this. I try not to eat it. Potatoes, not so good. And there's a lot of other stuff in it, not so good. But they love it, so when company comes over, we often make that. But let me tell you, their serving size is not a 1/2 cup. It's probably double that. So be realistic when you look at serving sizes. But the total carbs, as a general rule, look at that number, and per serving, if you're actually eating that amount of serving, try to keep it under 10 grams. That will really help to cut down on overall carb intake for sure. So that's all I wanted to touch on today about the sugars. If you missed the part 1 of this, go back and watch it where I talk a little bit more about wheat specifically and some alternatives as to what to have. Next week I am going to probably do a more in-depth talk about labels and grocery store shopping, produce numbers, what to look for, what do those digits mean on your produce, what you need to buy organic, and what you really don't need to spend. If you're trying to pinch pennies, what you don't need to spend money on things, on organic produce, because they're relatively safe. So I'm going to talk about that next time, and I hope you join me, and I hope you have a great and wonderful day, and we will see you next week. Bye.